I was always a stronger visual player than an auditory one. I remember struggling with directional hearing in Counter-Strike Source over a decade ago. Even in my daily life, I regularly struggle with directional hearing, and I'll lose my cell phone in my bedroom, and I'll have to have my wife find it because all I can tell is that the phone is ringing somewhere in the room, and I can't determine the direction that it's ringing from. The last few years, I've been mostly playing games like League of Legends, Overwatch, and Battlefield, where the visual aspect of aiming and reacting was able to disguise my auditory weaknesses. When I switched to PUBG, I quickly noticed that my directional hearing was going to be just as important as my ability to aim and react, and this auditory weakness was going to have a very frustrating impact on my performance. When I first started playing PUBG, I was using a SteelSeries Elite Prism that I had purchased for Battlefield 3 quite a few years ago. At the time, it was one of the top 7.1 surround sound headsets, but when I switched it over to stereo mode for PUBG, I had great difficulty both hearing and locating the direction of footsteps. When I cranked up the volume, I felt like the strong bass and the horrible optimization of PUBG sounds at the time were gonna make me go deaf. I watched a lot of different YouTube videos on using equalized sound or different EQ presets people found to improve their auditory responses. For me, though, as someone who struggles to pick up sounds, equalizing the frequencies made things worse, and EQ settings are very headset specific, so I found using someone else's settings to be just completely ineffective. Everyone's ears are different, so if you have read every article on Google and watched every video on YouTube and are still struggling with audio in PUBG, maybe my experiences on improving my audio game will also help to improve your audio game. I did a ton of research on different headsets and decided to purchase the Hyperx Cloud Revolver S version, which is the most comfortable headset that I have ever worn. It's also plug and play, so it's very easy to use. The Revolver was a huge upgrade over my Elite Prism, and they're supposed to be tuned specifically for FPS games straight out of the box. The cans have enough bass to make gunshots and explosions very easy to locate, and they also sound very clean and crisp. And the treble and footstep locations was a significant improvement over my Prisms, and I had a much easier time telling that other players were around me. And while I could tell other players were near me, I still struggled with differentiating between the surface or floor of a building another player was moving on, or if they were above or below me when I just had these plugged in on USB mode. The real game changer for me was when I decided to finally pull the trigger on the Sennheiser Gs X 1000. This is an amplifier and digital to analog converter that has gotten great reviews for its surround sound engine, which sounds amazing in games like The Witcher 3 or Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I had no idea what to expect when running it in stereo mode for PUBG. It was kind of like a Hail Mary play for me to see if it would work. And the first time I plugged the unit in, I immediately noticed how much cleaner the sound on my revolvers were when they were plugged into the GSX. The DAC really helped to differentiate the sounds from each other, so I had a much cleaner audio cue of which direction sounds were coming from, and sounds sounded less jumbled together. And while not everyone struggles with audio in PUBG, if you do, I would highly recommend doing some research on different amp and DAC combos, or to take my advice and grab the GSX 1000 and try it out, because the GSX with my revolvers was the first time I didn't feel like I was at an audio disadvantage, and I finally felt like I was on equal ground with other quality players when it came to my ability to locate directional audio. I wanted to try a set of open back headphones to pair with the GSX 1000, and open back headphones allow air and sound both in and out of the ear cups, creating a wider sound stage to better differentiate between the distance sounds are from you. With the open back design, sound leaks both in and out of the headphones, so if you play in a noisy environment with kids or friends, I would not recommend getting a pair of open back headphones. I'd recommend getting closed headphones. For my open back cans, I went with the Audio Technica ATH 700X. These can be had for under $100, I believe, right now on Amazon. And I would recommend these for someone who's only interested in a competitive advantage. The ATH 700X is extremely bass light and treble high, meaning that with the low bass, you will not get very punchy, immersive explosions or gunshots, but with the high treble, you're going to get very clear and loud footsteps. And with the open back design and the high treble, differentiating between the distance of footsteps was easier on these headphones than any other pair that I've tried. And when the sound is cranked, even though they're bass light, you can still hear and react to gunshots very quickly. The wide soundstage of an open back design will also make footsteps fainter, so there's a trade-off with these that you may not hear someone coming as early as you would with a set of closed cans. This is a great affordable option for PUBG or Counter-Strike, but like I said, I'd recommend swapping these out for other headphones if you're going to play something like Skyrim and want to be immersed, because these are only competitive advantage headphones and they do not sound that good. The final headset that I tried when paired with my GSX 1000 is the Sennheiser Gsp 600, which if you have stopped by my Twitch or YouTube lately, this is the set of cans you will see me wearing. The GSP 600 has a very clean soundstage with enough bass to give gunshots a nice snap, while having high treble, which allowed me to locate footsteps and movement very easily. I find that I'm able to hear footsteps from further with the GSP than I am even with the open back Audio Technica cans. I've been hearing bush rookies crawling from far distances and taking them out, where with my other headsets I would have probably been snaked and camped by them. The GSP 600 gets the champ stamp of approval as the best audio experience I've had in PUBG, especially paired with the GSX 1000. Just know that there are a few disadvantages to the GSP 600. For one, it's pretty pricey. I believe it's about $250 right now. And visually, the headset is ugly. I did not find this headset near as comfortable as my Revolvers. It took quite a bit of adjustment and playing with it and several play sessions for it to kind of break in for me to get used to wearing them. And lastly, if you're like me and you use a standalone mic, the mic on the GSP 600 is not detachable, so you have to just kind of point it straight up, and it looks a little weird and makes the headset look even worse when streaming than it does to begin with. In conclusion, if you already have a decent set of headphones and are still struggling with PUBG's audio, or maybe you just genetically do not have great hearing like me, I'd recommend trying out an amp and DC combo with your current headset to see if it helps improve your ability to hear in PUBG. If you're looking for a whole new setup, I would recommend checking out the website Blink, as they regularly have open box gaming gear at a massive discount with a 30-day return policy. I use them for my GSX 1000 and GSP 600. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just a happy customer. I would also recommend looking at the Sennheiser Game 1, Game 0, and HD 598, as these are all massively discounted after the GSP 600 released. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like and sub button. If there are any topics you would like me to discuss in the future, please leave recommendations in the comments. Champ out.